Now find island-inspired, limited-time flavors at Whole Foods Market for the Explore the Tropics sales event. Enjoy pre-marinated mains like mango coconut salmon and pineapple teriyaki chicken, and pair them with seasoned, ready-to-heat beans from a dozen cousins. Need dinner and a snap? Grab zesty lime shrimp salad, mango turkey burgers, and more from Prepared Foods. And, of course, there's the mango yuzu chantilly cake. Explore the tropics and save at Whole Foods Market in-store and online.
Lowe's is the destination for Ego outdoor power equipment this spring. See what's new and exclusive, like the 17-inch string trimmer with Line IQ technology that auto-feeds to save you time, and the 22-inch Select Cut self-propelled mowers with a multi-blade system for precise cutting. Shop Ego Days, happening now during Spring Fest at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
TaxAct knows you probably don't need help filing taxes. But if you get stuck, we have live experts you can talk to. And who knows, you could hit it off and become long-term tax friends, staying up late at night, talking about deductions, refunds, personal exemptions. Heck, you could even fall in love and create a little dependent of your own one day. Or they could just answer your filing questions. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On to Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, G-Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On Our Heads. Today, I have my amazing co-host, Dirty Skittles, and today is our Season 10 season ender. Hey, dude, sup? Like, how the fuck did we get to Season 10?
I don't know, but I have to confess to our listeners, when we do our countdown, when we go 3, 2, 1, the 1 is a middle finger. And what happens is, what you don't see is G-Rex typically is deep in thought. She's not really watching me on the Zoom. And so this go around, I said like this, I went 1, and I did 2 middle fingers. So when you watch the recording back, you're going to see that.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Red Bull.
I admit I close my eyes when I'm doing the countdown because that's just how I kind of keep everything in sync. It's when you decide not to do the middle finger, that 1 second that I do open my eyes, we have to re-record the intro.
Also, when it's just you and I, we're like a bunch of children.
We are a bunch of children. But you know what? We're lovable children. And, you know, we're old and we forget things and we have to take a lot of notes. And it's kind of weird. How did we get here, man?
We're 10 years old.
We are 10 years old. 10 years old for Season 10 ender. Wow.
No, I don't know. I don't know how we got in here, but I do feel like at least today was the first time, I know this is going to sound shitty, but the first time I saw such a purpose in what we do. Like, it's crazy out there, man. The world is crazy. And our little voices are helping carry a conversation that is difficult to have because it's around mental health.
You know, there's just so much stigma around that right now. But what brings me a lot of hope and a lot of joy is that, you know, we have a pretty nice sized audience on LinkedIn, and businesses are starting to take this more seriously. Like in the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen a bigger push for mental health than I had seen in the 5 years prior. And, you know, we've have this amazing community, right? And they're always sharing our stuff out, and we're getting brand new listeners like every day. We averaged almost 100,000 downloads the last month. Like it gives me a tiny bit of anxiety. And, if you guys don't know us, it's Dirty Skittles who usually gets super anxious. The tables have turned. And now it's me getting super anxious. So.
Season 10.
And it was a good season. Like we had so many amazing guests this season.
Yeah.
And just like in season 9, like how, what we talk about kind of reflects real life for us is kind of going the same way. And
I think this is your turn. Like season 9, I feel like selfishly was like everything that we were covering with our guests lined with what I was going through at the moment, my struggles. And then season 10 started to become about almost like a vision board for me, right? Like I was like, oh, wow, these are beliefs or thoughts or practices that I want to put in place or that I'm going to put in place. But as I was listening to some of the guests, I heard you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, I've heard you, Rex, talk about this, or I know that she's doing these things also. So I think this is season 10 is your turn.
Yeah. And putting everything into practice. And, now that my company's open and I've had a whole bunch of different opportunities open up for me that I never thought would be attainable. And so while it's scary, it's also really cool. And this season, I actually created another podcast with our first guest of season 10, which was Lisa Sugarman. And our podcast that I'm doing is all about suicide awareness. And it comes from a perspective of a suicide survivor, 3-time suicide survivor, and me as a suicide attempt survivor. So, taking my pain and putting it to purpose in like different areas, and shit that goes on in our heads isn't going to go away. It's just a different focus type podcast. Mm-hmm. But on this podcast, like we love our guests and we love everything that we've learned. And for me, it's free therapy. Yes, I still see my therapist twice a month, but like when we record on Saturdays, this is like a whole other, all other tools that I haven't even explored.
It's fun. It's fun to record with your friend and meet new friends. And now we've got like this little podcast family happening. And I do want to say, like, when you're talking about your other podcast that's going to start, I think that is such an important topic that the conversation should continue. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's how you should think of it, is the conversation will continue over there to talk more about that topic. And I think a lot of people will find the benefit in it. And like, what a great way to put that information out there. And for anybody listening who can relate, they've experienced that loss in their personal life, or they've gone through something, or they're thinking about going through something, God forbid, they can click on that podcast.
Yeah. And excuse me, I got a little fur ball in my throat. But the name of the podcast is The Survivors, and it's life, death, and everything in between. So yeah, just tune in and we hope that you get something out of it. But for our little podcast, shit that goes on in our heads, like it was such an incredible season. We started off with Lisa Sugarman. She is the creator of the helphub.co. And what I found really amazing with her is that she took her pain and turned it into this amazing thing. She found her purpose, and her purpose is really about preventing suicide and helping those that have those ideations in their head. And she talked a lot about grief and like what that felt like for her, because she didn't find out that her father had committed suicide until she was 45 years old.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, she's had to grieve her dad's death twice.
Yes.
Isn't that wild?
So hard. And she, she's an acclaimed author and a columnist, but she just pours her heart into everything she does. And, the world's a better place because of her passion, and her purpose have helped countless people out there. And, She was just such a gracious guest, and I loved having her on.
I did too. Another standout guest in my mind is Honey Badger.
Yes, Honey Badger was amazing. And, once again, talking about grief
and how to cope with it.
Yeah. Grief is kind of generational, and what things that you learn or things that have happened in your past do creep back up to, catch you when you're not thinking about it. Grief never stops, no matter how old you are or when it happened.
Yeah.
It always kind of sticks with you, but it's how you deal with it that makes you be able to continue on with your life.
And I was just about to say, make sure you're dealing with it in a healthy way. But I think coping through grief, there's not a blueprint for it. There's not something you can read that'll tell you how to do it. I think what I took from her episode was just be mindful of others that are also experiencing that loss, and know that their way of getting through that, if you don't agree with it, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? That's their way of doing it. And whatever they need to make that journey, we should be supportive of that.
Very supportive. And, she brought up another really key point is that, have your affairs in order.
Yeah.
Have your wills, know where your legal documentation is. Have that all kind of set up before it happens, because I will tell you, there's nothing worse than dealing with it when none of it's set up.
Yeah. I don't remember if I brought it up on that episode, but there's a local shop here and they have this book, and I've thought so much about getting it for my mom because I feel like my mom would enjoy it. And the book is called So I've Died, Now What? And when you open it up, it tells you everything you need to know about that person's affairs. It has it all out there, and they fill it out before obviously they get to that point. And then you open, I know that sounds morbid, right? But
no,
I think for people who think about those sort of things, what a great place to have it all put together.
Yeah, all documented, because there's nothing worse than going through file cabinets, or maybe there's a lockbox and you don't know where the key is.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So hard. And then, the other guests that we had were Johnny and Christy. And man, what a story. We touched a lot on alcoholism and domestic abuse, and just how messed up the laws are in Georgia. And
oh, I know. Yeah.
I'll never forget the look on your face when Christy said
when they arrested her.
And she was the one being abused. How
she
does that work?
She gets arrested.
She gets arrested.
Crazy.
But Johnny just stopping drinking because it was affecting everything that he was, trying to do in his life. And once he stopped drinking, the kind of crazy thing about that is now he runs a winery with his family. And it's a beautiful winery. If you're ever in Georgia, go to the Carnes winery. It is absolutely beautiful. Stunning. Yeah. The wines are great. And, the thing that was really kind of cool with Chrissy is her ex-husband was a narcissist and an alcoholic and very abusive. And she had already been in Al-Anon before she had met Johnny. And
she had the tools.
And she was able to help Johnny figure out what those tools were and making it work. And it, anytime you have something between you and your spouse or you and your partner, the more you talk about it and you try and work through it together, the better it is. When you keep it all bottled up with yourself, you don't give your partner a chance to help you kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah. What I took from that episode was she had the tools, but when I say that, it wasn't just for Johnny, right? She went through that herself, gave herself the tools to know her worth, right? So that when it happened again in her life, she wasn't lost. She was like, okay, I know my worth. And I really loved that she was secure in who she was and what she deserved. And it was up to him to fucking get it together or not. But she wasn't going to force him to do it, and she wasn't going to wait around, right? It was okay, you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm not going to be there for it.
Yeah, like when she moved all his stuff out of the room when he started drinking again. I mean, that was a wake-up call for him. And, you have to make those choices. And, even for me, hindsight is 2020. Like when I was battling my depression, like I didn't open up to anybody, not even my wife. And yes, I regret that now. But now I have different tools and, I make them work for me. And part of that is like opening up when things are not good.
Yeah.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
The Ego Power Plus Savings Event is on at Lowe's. Right now, get a free select Ego 56-volt battery with purchase of a select trimmer, blower, or mower kit. That's a $299 value. Plus, shop today for new and exclusive items you need for your lawn. So get ready for spring with the latest in innovation from Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Only at Lowe's. We help, you save. Offer valid through 4/16. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
From taco night in Tulum to sushi in Tokyo, every bite is rewarding and post-worthy with Amex Gold's 4 times membership rewards points at restaurants worldwide. Wherever you dine, points are piling up. So bring your friends along for your next course, because it's not all about the posts. It's about the company and the memories. How can gold from Amex sweeten your next food moment? Learn more at americanexpress.com/explore-gold. Terms and points cap apply.
And then we had Kurt, and he was so awesome. So Kurt and I had gone to high school together. Actually, I think he graduated way before I did, but I'd known of him.
Wow, way before I did.
Okay, dude, he's like 63 and I'm 61. Okay, whatever. Like 100,000 years old. But the thing with Kurt, he took his pain and when COVID came around, it messed everybody up, right? Being stuck at home, not being able to work out, not being able to do anything. And what he did is he started working out and ended up becoming a bodybuilder and being on stage and just really like it was his tool to boost his mental health. And he was.
I burped, my bad.
Whatever. You can do whatever you want to on the show.
Yeah, I mean, what a lovely human being, though. Like, I'm jealous that you got to go to school with him. I wish I had like a little time machine so I could see the two of you in school together.
I wasn't any taller than I am now. Okay, maybe like an inch. But we both graduated from Columbine, and he still lives in the area. So when Columbine happened, he was right in the midst of that and, doing documentaries and, really doing a lot for racial, things that weren't right racially. And, he's just super smart and just very humble about what he does. And, him and his wife had been married for years. And, he did like me. He just decided to not do the corporate thing anymore and went out on his own. And you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, I don't want to work for the man anymore. But you still want to work, right? Like for me, I don't work because I have to. I work because I want to. And now I get to pick and choose what I want to do.
Yeah, and enjoy what you do because you're doing it for you now.
I am. And I'm so much more happier. At least that's what everybody tells me. At least now I smile more. Hey, there were a couple months there I didn't smile for a while. Okay, listen, you can't hide resting bitch face, no matter how hard you try. and the older you get, the more it just sticks out. It sticks out like a sore thumb. You're like,
That's too funny. And then we had Alicia.
Oh, she was so good. She was a ball of energy, man. She was like
refreshing though, right? Like, so like I remember feeling like, wow, it's like summertime. Like I was able to breathe and take a breath of fresh air and relate to her on the struggles of curly hair and not wanting to embrace my curls. And I remember us talking about that for a hot minute on just how long it takes to straighten your hair, and her conversation with us, her embracing herself. Looking at my little cheat sheet, one note I had is like how important it was for her. And I think I can relate in a journey that I've gone through, like having your village believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far I would have gotten or would even continue to get in life if I didn't have someone that I loved that believed in me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, she just really embraces life. And, she has her own set of clients, and she's all about, building really strong, trusting relationships. And I love that she was, able to, she had a tough childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But she's, done a lot of moving around, and she's with her partner, and he's very supportive of her, and just makes her life so much easier, right? Because if you have a supportive partner and, you think in your heart that you're making a crazy decision, but, you get buy-in from them and you're like, oh, okay, let's do this. That for me was kind of like a light bulb moment for me, because by the time we had that conversation with her, I had already put in my 2 weeks, and I was like, let's just do it.
Isn't that interesting?
Hope for the best.
How having someone who believes in you is like, makes a world of difference.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's certain things I wouldn't do in my life without having like permission or like maybe a nudge to do it. And so like when, my wife's like, quit your job. I'm like, for a minute, I had a little bit of a heart attack. I'm like, really? You want me to quit my job? But she believed in me, and she believed in what I was doing. And at that point, I'd been through 2 years of therapy, and I thought I was ready. And we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, you're on your journey now.
I am. And then we had Alyssa, and Alyssa reminded us of how important it is to take care of ourselves, okay? Like sleep and exercise.
She really did, though. Like she was like the good angel on our shoulder, right? Like telling us, like if she could see how many Red Bulls I've had today, that probably, she'd probably have something to say about it. But I loved that, like, she is being intentional. And I remember towards the end of the conversation, her talking about getting back into music and her love for music. And I think why it was so impactful for me is because I felt like the whole episode, she was very nurturing to us, like giving us that love and that care. And then towards the end, just to see like that little flash of like happiness, like, because for her to nurture herself with music, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I loved how she reminded me to like get enough sleep and get some exercise and learn how to manage your anxiety and like
in a calming voice, right?
In a very calming voice. And I was like, this needs to replay for me like 47 times a day. But like I said, by that time, I quit my job and I was trying to figure out what my next step was going to be. And now here I am, and I have a customer and doing the things that make me happy. And like by just following those simple little practices, right? Like now I have a set time that I go to bed, and now I have a set time that I get up. The only exercise I get right now is going up and down the stairs because it's been cold and snowy. But like reminding myself, like everything, to just be in the present, right? Yeah. And take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we had Hadley.
She was a little spitfire too.
I loved it though. And I still I really want to set some time aside to just dive more into my thoughts on something that she spoke about, because she's the second person that I remember that we've had on the podcast that has specifically called out the alcohol industry and moms.
Yes.
And it's something that I never really noticed until the two individuals who brought it up. And then I'm like, that's right. Mommy's sippy cup. I remember talking about that with her.
Yeah.
It had like a little wine glass inside of it. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, sobriety doesn't mean that you've hit your rock bottom.
Right.
It means like you take a deep look at yourself and look at how alcohol is affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what does it look like for you stepping away from that?
Yeah.
And, it's very brave, right? Like even for myself, like I haven't had a drink in months.
Yeah. I can't think of the last time.
I mean, because now I have other things and that are like, I want to do, and I want to be awake, and I want to be like feeling that moment and feel excited about it. And I love the fact that she wrote a book about her experience, that she, so that she can pass that on to other readers or other people that are thinking about wanting to quit drinking. And, another example of taking your pain and turning it into purpose. And, the fact that sharing that, and, she's active now, and she's able to, go out with her friends, even if her friends drink, just feeling better inside. That to me is what it's all about, is feeling good about yourself, right? No matter what anybody else says, because at the end of the day, you're the person who has to live with you.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit it right on the head. I think her episode was the first time I ever heard somebody say anxiety. And I was like, what is that? And then I'm like, oh, that is a thing. Yeah, you're right. You don't have to hit rock bottom. You just choose to step away because it doesn't do any good for you.
And I've had anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right around the time I retired. Even though y'all gave me a helmet, didn't seem to help, because I ended up going back to New York with a skinned up knee.
Yeah, in retrospect, I think we were pretty heavy for your exit out.
Yeah, it was bad, but it was good too. Hindsight is 20/20. And then we finished the season with Summer, and Summer was so open about her struggles with anxiety and depression, and just wanting to break the cycle and doing things that made her feel good.
She was so real and raw. Like, I remember thinking like, oh, we found our people, because we clicked, right? Like, I was like, I could literally talk to you forever about the fucked up shit that goes on in my head.
Yeah. On a daily basis, and how it was generational for her too. And how, like, in her own like family life, it was still kind of going on, but she was still working on herself. Yep. So she wasn't feeling that anxious and that depression, and, breaking that cycle and just doing things that made her feel better. And
truly doing it for herself, and not listening to people who are like, why are you doing that? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like, not having naysayers, because, we all have our naysayers, and it's usually ourselves telling us, oh, no, you're not crazy. You're fine. And then like in the next breath, like, you're an idiot and you suck. But just, she was our people, and she really like wanted to, share her message and let people know it's okay. Just like you and I say, it's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And really reiterating, the use of 988 and the other crisis hotlines out there, because more than ever, people need to know it's okay to call in and talk to somebody.
You brought this up season 11, one of our episodes we've recorded for season 11, spoiler alert, but you did bring that up, how great it is to see 988 so much more now than ever before. I love that's happening.
I do too, because for anybody that's listening and you're in crisis, right? It doesn't have to be suicide. It doesn't have to be anything, but you're in crisis and you just don't know where to turn. Call 988 or go out to the healthhub.co. And Lisa has a ton of crisis resources and crisis hotlines that you can use. And let me tell you, the crisis hotlines are free. They're anonymous, and they're really compassionate people that just want to help.
And it's a clean site. I remember looking at it and wasn't sure what to expect, but it was not overwhelming. The way she has her links listed out and like everything grouped together was very like, the last thing you need when you're in crisis is to try to read through a website and figure out where all the shit is. But this was very easy.
Right. Or go through Google. If you type in mental health in Google and you get back a
bunch of sponsored
sponsored links that aren't going to help you. Right. So I for season 10, I just want people to really take a look at yourself, be kind to yourself, give yourself patience and grace, that there's a lot going on in this world.
Yep.
And, make sure you're taking time for yourself and checking out of, social media, checking out of the news, spend more time with family and friends.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, take care of yourself. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to us for season 11.
I know. We'll be back.
We'll be back. Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.